Dear students, welcome to history class. Let's walk through the path of history for a while. Today, we are going to see the French Revolution. What do you mean by the word revolution? Revolution is not a simple strike that we see today, or it's not a conflict between few parties. It's not a fight among a few group of people. Then what is a revolution? Revolution is a deliberate, violent attack by a large group of people against an existing government to uproot its system down and to bring a new system to exist. That's what revolution is. That's why French Revolution is one among the notable incident, remarkable incident in the world history itself. So this whole topic we will deal in 3 sessions. In this session, today we are going to see what is the background of French Revolution. In that, we will deal with what was the structure of a French society before the revolution, and we will move on to the influential factors. What are the factors influenced the French society to have a revolt against the government? Finally, in this session, we will see most importantly what are the causes, major causes of the French Revolution. So, let's move on. The French Revolution. The revolution, which began in 1789, was really a turning point in European political and social history. We have already seen that it was one of the remarkable incidents in the world history itself, which affected a large group of people, large number of people, and which created both a new political and social order in France. So this incident had made upside down the existing system and brought in a new system. So this is one of the remarkable incident in the world history. Let's examine what was the background, what was the situation of the society, the structure of the society before the revolution. That is very important in the case of a French Revolution, French society before the revolution. See, it was arranged in order of rank. Today's society, we don't see lots of classes like that. Especially in our society, we don't see many classes of people. Everyone has got equal rights as an Indian citizen. But here, the French society was arranged in order of ranks. And it was divided into 3 main classes called estates. So there were 3 estates according to their rank. So here remember the term estate, a class in the French society before the revolution was termed as estate. So there were mainly 3 estates. Let us see what were the position or the structure of French society before the revolution. See the diagram here. There is a diagram, a triangular diagram, which clearly represents the hierarchical structure of French society before the revolution. King Louis XVI and his queen Mary Antoinette were ruling France during this period. So they held the highest and ultimate power. Even to the extreme, let us say, they were considering themselves as gods. So they held the ultimate power and they remain at the top of the hierarchical structure. And coming to these 3 estates, first estate comprised of a clergy. Clergy means the church officials, priest. They held the higher position in the higher rank in the hierarchical structure, and they enjoyed a good privileges in the society. The second estate was comprised of nobles and their families. They too had good respect in the society. The third estate comprised almost 95 percentage of the French society, and it was comprised of peasants, artisans, bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie means the middle class entrepreneurs, small scale entrepreneurs. They were addressed as bourgeoisie, and poor people, ordinary people, beggars. So all these people were considered as the third estate. So these were the hierarchical structure of the French society. This is very important. So this structure itself gives the chance or opportunities of exploitation. Just observe the structure. Above all, there was a position of king and queen, and first estate is there, second estate is there. So they held the status, social status, and they had the privileges. So coming to the third estate, there is a possibility of exploitation. So this was the structure, and keep this structure in your mind. Now let us see what are the influential factors of French Revolution. The first one is the role of philosophers. See, philosophy set the way of life. We have seen it many times, even from the time of Socrates. Philosophy really influenced the lifestyle of the society. So France was blessed with many philosophers like Rousseau, Montesquieu, Voltaire. So there were many philosophers like Rousseau, Montesquieu, Voltaire, and many others were there. So these philosophers really provided the ideas of a revolution. They taught people. They discussed the injustice prevalent, which was there in the French society and politics. They taught that you are being exploited by the higher classes. Most importantly, they taught the value of liberty, equality, and fraternity. That is the most important thing. So these liberty, equality, and fraternity later became the slogan of French Revolution. Liberty means the freedom as a citizen. The freedom as a citizen. Equality means the equal rights of a citizen. Fraternity means brotherhood. So everyone is equal. So that idea was propagated. That was one of the major role of philosophers in the French Revolution. They had a big role. And next influential factor is the influence of the American Revolution. See, already French was supporting America in American Revolution. We have already seen about American Revolution. French soldiers participated in American Revolution, and they know the values and they know the success of the people. So they brought with them the revolutionary ideas of democracy and nationalism. So they also influenced the French society very much. So these were the main influential factors. First one is philosophers. Secondly, the influence of American Revolution. So these two things, factors, influenced the French society to have a revolt against the government. Now it is very important to deal with the causes of the French Revolution. We can mainly divide the whole causes into three sections. The first one is political causes. As we have already seen, king had the absolute power. Even to the extreme, we have already heard that even to the extreme they considered themselves as God. So whatever they said became law, and people had no voice in the society, no voice in the administration, nothing. So they did not have any voice. Whatever was the wish and will of the king became the law of the country. So people suffered a lot due to that situation. Secondly, the corrupt administration. The officials were inefficient and they were least bothered about the welfare of the people. They even went to the extreme of exploiting their own powers. So these were the political causes. Now let's come to the social causes. Second one is the social causes. See, we have already seen the structure of the society, a triangular structure. So we can understand that there was widespread inequality and the exploited third estate, which came almost to the 95% of the whole population. The 95% of whole population was exploited by rest of the 5%. So you can just imagine the widespread inequality, the situation in the state. And discontented bourgeoisies, though they had a little bit of money, they could not have the social status, they could not have freedom, they could not earn much profit out of it. So even they were exploited. So this was the social situation, so social causes. Second one is social cause. The next one is very severe. The next one is very important and severe, and which can be considered as an immediate cause for the French Revolution. See, collapse of the government finances. Already there were a group of people who were exploited, very much exploited, and we should know that there was a big famine in France, which led the almost the majority of the people into poverty, and they suffered a lot. Even to that time, heavy tax was laid on them and they had to pay tax. So government systems, finances, they were in the brink of collapse. Again, we have to know there was a huge expenditure on wars in Europe from the time of Louis XIV itself. From that time onwards, they had a lots of war between neighboring countries. So they had to have a lots of expenditure, unnecessary expenditure on wars, which again affected government treasury very much. In spite of all these, the extravagant lifestyle of King Louis XVI and his Queen Mary Antoinette, that too emptied the government treasury. And adding to that, for their lavishness, they imposed a huge tax on the third estate, that is on the poor people, for the daily useful things like essential things. They had to pay a lot of money as a tax. So that is a rise of new taxes. So all these economical causes, in spite of famine, they had to suffer a lot from the part of government as imposing a tax, and many times they had to work with the poor people, the third estate people. They had to work without salary or wages. In the case of road construction and all, they had to work without salary. So that was an additional burden for them. So all these things led a discontent among the people, and bourgeoisies who suffered a lot due to taxes and all this. They initiated or they started this kind of discontented or revolution, we can say. They joined the people together to fight against the government. So these were the major causes. First one is the political causes. We have already seen political causes, absolute power of the king and corrupt administration. Secondly, we have seen social causes, widespread inequality the exploited third estate and discontented bourgeoisie, and finally and most importantly, the economical causes: collapse of government finances, expenditure on wars, which started much earlier, and extravagant lifestyle of King Louis and his queen, and rise of a new taxes. So people, the citizens were extremely in agony, so they had no other way. And thus the philosophers exhorted them that though you have to consider your king and your authority as God itself, but if they fail to feed you, or if they fail to hear you, listen to you, you can correct them. So that's why they taught the people, and these three remains as the causes of the French Revolution. So in this session we discussed the structure of a French society before the revolution, and the important influential factors which led them to, or which influenced them to have the people to have a revolt against the government. And finally we have seen what were the major causes of the French Revolution. So in the upcoming videos I will be explaining what are the major events of the French Revolution and also the results of the revolution. So now we have a few review questions which you have to write it your own, and you have to learn them. First one is, explain the structure of a French society before the revolution. Explain the structure of French society before the revolution. Second one, what was the role of the French philosophers in the revolutionary movement? What was the role of the French philosophers in the revolutionary movement? Finally, mention the causes of the French Revolution. The causes of the French Revolution. All the three causes you have to write it down. You refer your textbook and write the answers and learn them. So we will see in the next video with the events of the French Revolution. Thank you.